college members. And that is why you have some of those states like California that has almost 40 or 50 electoral college people. Yeah, that is why they always focus more on these big states that have the large number of representatives to actually vote. What happens is when you win the majority vote, that is just majority vote. However, if you want that state, then the number of electoral college will be equal to the one that already approved. Some have 3. Where Romney was, when they were announcing Abuja is winning, they were announcing so many, but what do you have there? 3, 3, 3, 3. But they were waiting for the big ones like Texas, like Florida, like California, that will be a very big chunk that they can even consume all of that as one. So what is done is that those electoral college members will be appointed by the population of the members of House of Representatives in the Congress, and with the number of the senators they have together there. So it is there after that, after the election I've done now, then we go back and actually cast their votes. There have been some problems there in the past that we have some people who actually rigged, I think in 1876, that the commission rigged the election through the electoral college. And I think 1977, Jimmy Carter tried to change the constitution to make sure that the popular vote will be for the president, but it's too late because it has been what they have since they established it.
Talking about that, because I'm wondering, if you say popular vote is dependent on, let me find a way to explain this now, because I'm thinking if the electoral college is, yes, if the electoral college represents the number or the number of people in a particular community, California, for example, the number of electoral college is dependent on the population of that region, of that state.
Yes.
Now, if you look at that, then if you don't win the popular vote there, how would you be able to get all those who are in the electors Reps. Within the electoral college?
There are some states that split the electoral votes.
I think there are 2.
Yes. They will split that. That means that you have 1. If you have 2, if you are the winner, you don't win, just have 1. And most of them are just say, well, whoever win the general vote should take the whole electoral numbers there. And it's never been any problem in the American history. It's only just one time, that's 1888, that this issue came up, that the person who won the popular vote did not win the election. It almost happened in 2000 between Al Gore and Bush, because they were waiting, focusing on that Florida count that Al Gore won the popular vote, but not the electoral votes. So it's been something in the history of US that they have been struggling to change, but I doubt if they will change it. Like I said, even most Americans don't even understand what this electoral college is all about.
Mr. Gomiano, e-voting was what was used there.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think that our election would be like if we e-voted?
Yeah, I feel just like it happened in the US, it can be swifter, it can be more transparent, because immediately there's a projection, it just starts to run, because everything is digitalized. It's already down, it's already computerized, so it begins to run immediately. Now, what I think is that for us to get there needs a lot of perceptual engineering, mindset engagement. There needs to be an overhaul of so many things. Number one, we have a crisis with power, with energy. I don't know.
PHCN just had to feature there somewhere.
I don't know what perspective that can be able to work with that. When I was in the reception, I was listening to him speak with some people that for the past 2 months, there's been so much emphasis criminally in the oil sector. And I feel that yes, because the two are linked, power and the oil sector, they are very symbiotic. When one has a crisis, when one is epileptic, the other one has diarrhea. It usually happens, it replicates all the time, because those are the cash cows, really. So I think it can work. But let me go to some other thing just briefly. I describe the actions of the Republicans by commission or mission inadvertently or thereabout as a facsimile of the way politicians behave here. They're very, very bad losers. When Obama won, they came out, Karov himself came out and gave reasons left to him, that these are the reasons. One, he blamed a freak of nature called Sandy, that was the bump that made Obama to win. He didn't stop there. He went ahead to blame voter suppression. And at that point, I screamed. I climbed the wall like Spider-Man and screamed. I couldn't believe it. So I think that I think that for e-voting, it can be achieved there. It can be achieved there, honestly, but it might take a process for us to get there. All these infrastructural things must be in place. But for now, there's a strong structural seizure, strong structural capture by so many forces, which you might not say here. But I feel that it can be done here. E-voting is very transparent and it's open. Sometimes, but of course, like every man-made device, sometimes there might be a few faux pas here and there. Just like it happened in Florida, Al Gore and Bush. They had to manually count it.
There's more.
They had to manually count.
To be said
yes,
for
of
it
course.
and against it.
Of course.
Okay. Well, we've got to go now. So, in closing, we'd like to hear your last word, please, on the lessons from the U.S. elections for Nigeria.
And as you're doing that, I'd also like you to take into whatever you're going to say, the issue of Nigerians in diaspora being able to vote. All Americans all around the world were able to vote from anywhere they are and contribute to what their democracy should be like.
That's pushing it, yeah?
We haven't been able to successfully conduct election in this country. We want to start with the diaspora. I'm all for the diaspora to be able to vote one of these days, but I know that for now, it's not going to be possible. The logistic is not there. The dynamics of Nigerian politics will probably not allow it happen for so many years. And if people read newspapers, you see the argument that there are a certain percentage of Nigerians from some parts of the country out there, and they could actually tip the balance. So we are going to go across the border and annex those from the border to be also in the diaspora. And then, let's not get into that for the time being. I know the diaspora, they're very passionate about it. And I must say this here, that's why our diaspora policy had derailed. Okay. Because instead of concentrating on development, which was what we started with the diaspora, everybody is now focusing on politics. Just like what we are doing at home. Rather than focus on development, we're all focusing on the politics of everything. But I think the last thing I would say is that Nigerians must realize that we are part of the global village. And that the world will continue to watch us for so many reasons. So we cannot, as we often do, that this is an island on its own, and we can do what we like and get away with it. People will begin to see that this big elephant or giant needs to grow up. So when we talk of international best practices, it should not only be when we are talking of the Nigerian economy, doing business and so on. It should be through the whole facets of our national life. In other words, whether in education, where we are focusing now in the South, and next week we'll be having an education summit, we need to take education seriously, because these are one of the major issues at the election in the United States. Again, we need to take our economy seriously. We need to take the youths into consideration, bearing in mind that Obama again focused significantly on the young people. And by the way, those of you who saw him weeping the other day,
He wept like twice.
there are so many reasons, because I was saying to some people that the emotion was that he's looking at these millions of young people over the United States that worked for him. And I guess in his mind he's saying, what can I do for these people? And by the way, those young people volunteered. They were not going to be paid for what they did. We try to encourage volunteerism in this country. The first question everybody says to you, what will you pay me? So when we change our mindset, as he says at the beginning, but again, the point must be made that we cannot sit in this country and say we're an island on our own. We are part of the global village, and if there's any lessons we must learn, is the fact that we need to begin to do things the way the rest of the country will appreciate us and respect us. The rest of the world will appreciate us and respect us.
Okay.
Dr. Ajay?
Yes, thank you very much. And Ambassador Keshi was with us in Accra for so many years. And he actually gave us kind of leadership that we really needed in that environment. More so, he gave us some insight as to how things work in Nigeria. And then, to be honest with this, I've been around this country. I've studied the whole thing. Talking about diaspora to vote may take a very long time. They may not like it, but it's what a good happen. However, what we need to do in this country is the people, especially about education. The youth now to be developed, how to grow. And the politicians should not even misuse the opportunity to actually hand over the baton to those who are just coming behind, because they are the future of this country. Most of them who are these politicians today, in the next 10, 20 years, they are gone. Who is going to take over from them? So focusing on the youth to make sure that things work actually in this country, we want to do. But our politicians, please learn how to be sportsmanship. Stop recruiting people to act violence. The one we are facing in the north is started from here. The Boko Haram thing is they were gathered together to help them in the election. They were let loose and the group powerful. And what happened today? We cannot control them anymore. So leaders, for God's sake, please think of tomorrow so that the youth could be more used to the country.
Mr. Governor?
Well, I think two takeaways. First of all, I see a lampooning or a complete killing of monetization of politics, which I feel doesn't allow for the development for the common good. The Republican Party threw a lot of dollars in there and they got nothing out. A lot of billionaires are looking for Karov now to get him and ask him where their hard-earned Benjamins went to. I mean, excuse my French. Number two, we need to consciously.
I think you should stop watching Fox. for your blood pressure. Don't look at Fox. Don't listen to Fox.
Okay, well, we have to wrap up.
Number two, let me just finish.
Number two will be the
we need to
final.
quickly demystify public office. Is very key, because I know that some time ago, politics and politicking and serving was more part-time. Maybe we need to begin to go back to that. Because when there's so much to gain there, I listened to the Isle on Oil segment just before. When there's so much to look in there and all that, it becomes so. We need to, remove the myth from the service.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Raphael Ogomena, leadership consultant, Ambassador Joe Keshi, who's here with us, and also Professor Femi Ajay, who's the Professor of Management and Conflict Resolution. He is with the Babcock University as Head of Political Science and Public Administration Department. Thank you all for being part of the show this morning.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
Well, we've been talking about lessons from the United States election, and Sunrise will continue just after this break. Don't go away.